What if I told you there's a place on Earth where 25,000 large animals live trapped inside an ancient volcano, creating one of the most bizarre and beautiful ecosystems ever discovered? Picture this. You're standing on the rim of the largest intact volcanic caldera on the planet. Below you stretches a perfect circle of grasslands, forests, and lakes, all contained within walls that rise 2,000 feet high. This isn't just a crater, it's a natural arc, a self-contained world where nature has been experimenting for millions of years. The Ngorongoro crater in Tanzania is often called Africa's Eden, and once you understand how it works, you'll see why that name fits perfectly. But how did this geological wonder become such an incredible wildlife sanctuary? And what happens when predators and prey can't escape each other? The story begins not with animals, but with fire and earth. About 2 to 3 million years ago, a volcano stood here that may have been taller than Mount Kilimanjaro. Then it collapsed in on itself in one of the most dramatic geological events in East Africa's history. What remained was a bowl-shaped depression 12 miles across, a perfect natural enclosure. Over thousands of years, rain filled the crater floor, creating permanent lakes and swamps. Grasslands spread across the fertile soil, fed by mineral-rich volcanic ash. Acacia forests grew along the slopes, and then the animals came. But here's what makes Ngorongoro different from anywhere else on Earth. Most animals that enter the crater never leave. The steep walls form a natural barrier that's nearly impossible for many species to cross. This created the most dense concentration of large mammals in Africa, a living laboratory where evolution plays out in fascinating ways. Let's descend into this lost world and discover its secrets. The crater floor operates like a perfectly balanced clock. Each morning, as the sun rises over the eastern rim, thousands of wildebeest and zebra begin their daily migration from the forest edges to the central grasslands. They follow the same paths their ancestors used for centuries. Meanwhile, the crater's famous black-maned lions emerge from their nighttime hiding spots. These aren't ordinary lions. They've evolved into a distinct population, larger and with darker manes than their Serengeti cousins. They know every inch of this 100-square-mile enclosure, and they've developed hunting strategies you won't see anywhere else. By mid-morning, the crater reveals its true magic. At the center lies Lake Magadi, a shallow alkaline lake that turns pink with thousands of flamingos. Hippos wallow in the permanent swamps. Elephants, only the older bulls, since the steep walls are too difficult for families with young, move between forest patches. And everywhere there are the grazers, buffalo, Thompson's gazelles, and the endangered black rhino, one of Ngorongoro's most precious residents. But life in this paradise comes with unique challenges. During the dry season, water becomes scarce. Animals congregate around the few remaining water sources, creating intense competition. The crater's hyenas have developed remarkable intelligence. They've been observed working together to distract lions from kills, something rarely seen in open ecosystems. The Maasai people, who have lived around the crater for centuries, call it the gift of life. Their cattle graze on the highlands, but they rarely bring them into the crater itself. This ancient understanding between humans and wildlife has helped maintain the delicate balance. What's most fascinating is how the animals have adapted to their enclosed world. The wildebeest here don't undertake the Great Migration. they've become sedentary, learning the crater's seasonal patterns instead. The lions have smaller territories than they would on the open plains. Even the vegetation has evolved. Certain grass species have developed deeper roots to survive both droughts and intense grazing pressure. Scientists studying Ngorongoro have made startling discoveries about predator-prey relationships. Because animals can't simply run away, they've developed more sophisticated communication and avoidance strategies. Zebras will use specific alarm calls when different predators approach. Baboons have learned to steal kills from cheetahs by working in coordinated groups. The crater has become a natural laboratory, showing us how ecosystems can self-regulate when given the right conditions. But this perfect balance faces modern threats. Climate change is altering rainfall patterns. The growing tourist presence, while carefully managed, puts pressure on the ecosystem. And the black rhino population, though protected, remains critically small. Conservationists work constantly to monitor the crater's health, knowing that in such a concentrated space, any imbalance could have dramatic consequences. What Ngorongoro teaches us is that sometimes limitations create perfection. The very walls that confine the animals have forced them to develop extraordinary adaptations. The limited space has created an intensity of life that exists nowhere else. And the geological history that created this place reminds us that sometimes destruction gives birth to something even more magnificent. Have you ever visited a place that felt like another world? Share your most incredible natural wonder in the comments below. We might feature it in our next exploration.